बहुत टाइम 6:51 हो रहा है। हेलो एवरीवन, कैसे हैं आप लोग?
अरुणगिरी हॉकी दो
क्या चल रहा है? स्टीम नोजल, ऐसे इंजन, कंप्रेशन, theory of machine. Automatic. Alternator. The ball bearing are provided with a cage. 485. 484. D. To maintain the ball at a fixed distance apart, the ball bearing are provided with a cage. To maintain the ball at a fixed distance apart. Which of the following bearing is performed for isolating condition? Taper roller bearing, double roll bearing, double roll, mm, angular contact single roll ball bearing, needle roll bearing. Needle roll bearing. Which of the following bearing is preferred for isolating conditions? 485. D. Needle roller bearing. D. Needle roller bearing. Which of the following bearing is preferred for isolating condition? Needle roller bearing. Deep groove ball bearing are used for bearing. Combined thrust and radial load at high speed. Combined thrust and radial load at high speed. When the lubricant is forced between the normal journal and the bearing by external pressure, the bearing is called hydrostatic lubricated bearing. From the 68. Mm, yeah, agree. When the lubricant is forced between the journal and the bearing by external pressure, the bearing is called hydrostatic lubricating bearing. Agree. When the shaft rotates in anti-clockwise direction at slow speed in a bearing, it is have option A have contact at the bottommost of the bearing. Option B move towards right of the bearing, making the metal to metal contact. Option C move towards right of the bearing, making no metal to metal contact. Option D move towards left of the bearing, making metal to metal contact. When the shaft rotates in anticlockwise direction at slow speed in a bearing, it will D. Move towards left of the bearing, making metal to metal contact. When the shaft rotates in anti-clockwise direction at slow speed in a bearing, it will move towards left of the bearing, making metal to metal contact. Metal to metal contact. When the shaft rotates in anti-clockwise direction, a high speed in a bearing, it will, इसमें लिखा था जब लो स्पीड पे था तो आपका होगा मूव टुवर्ड्स लेफ्ट द बियरिंग मेकिंग मेटल टू मेटल कॉन्टेक्ट, और जब हाई स्पीड में होगा, लो स्पीड के लिए वो बात कर रहा था, अभी हाई स्पीड में बात कर रहा है, तो इसके लिए होगा आंसर आपका when the shaft rotates in anti-clockwise direction at high speed in bearing, it will option A have contact at the bottom most of the bearing, option B have towards right of the bearing making metal to metal contact, move option C move towards right of the bearing making no metal to metal contact, move towards left of the bearing making metal to metal contact. Move towards right of the bearing making no metal to metal contact. When shaft rotates in anti-clockwise direction at high speed in a bearing, it will move towards right of the bearing, making no metal to metal contact. The property, question number. The property of a bearing material which has the ability of accommodate shaft deflection and bearing inaccuracies by plastic deformation without excessive wear and heating is known as. The property of a bearing metal, the property of a bearing metal which has the ability to accommodate shaft deflection and bearing inaccuracies by plastic deformation without excessive wear and heating is known as. Option A bendability, option B bendability, option C comfortability, option D fatigue strength. 471. C. Conformability, conformability. The property of a bearing material which has the ability to accommodate shaft deflection and bearing inaccuracies by plastic deformation without excessive wearing and heating is known as conformability. Conformability. Okay. The property of a bearing material which has the ability to accommodate small particles of dust, grit without scoring the material of the journal is called B. Embeddability. Embeddability. The property of a bearing material which has the ability to accommodate a small particle of dust, grit, etc. without scoring the material of the journal is called embeddability. Teflon. Teflon is used to bearing because of low coefficient of friction, V. Better heat dissipation, C. Small space concentration. Option D. All of these. 173. A. Low coefficient of friction. Teflon is used for bearing because low coefficient of friction. इसलिए होता है इसका टेफ्लॉन का बेयरिंग में क्योंकि इसका कोफिशिएंट ऑफ फ्रिक्शन जो होता है टेफ्लॉन का बहुत ही लो होता है. Teflon is to bearing because of low coefficient of friction. The bearing characteristics number is given by Zn upon P, जहाँ P equal to bearing pressure on the project bearing area, Z absolute viscosity of the lubricant, and N is equal to speed of the general. 474. D. Zn upon P. Bearing pressure is equal to bearing pressure on the project bearing area. Z absolute viscosity in the lubricant and speed of the channel. The bearing characteristic number in a hydrodynamic bearing depend upon speed bearing pressure. The bearing characteristic number in hydrodynamic bearing depend upon viscosity, speed, and bearing pressure. When the bearing is subjected to large fluctuation of load and heavy impact, the bearing characteristics number should be bearing characteristic number is hydrodynamic bearing depend upon viscosity, speed, and bearing pressure. When the bearing is subjected to large fluctuation of load, heavy impact, the bearing characteristics number of should be C 15 times. When the bearing is subjected to a large fluctuation of load and heavy impact, the bearing characteristic number of potentials. When the length of the journal is equal to the diameter of the journal, the bearing is to be. When the length of the journal is equal to the diameter of journal, then the bearing is said to be square bearing. When the length of journal is equal to the length of square. For a general industry machinery, the ratio of length of journal to diameter of the 1 to 2. The general industrial machinery, the ratio of length journal to its diameter is taken as 1 to 2. For crankshaft bearing, the ratio of the length of the journal to its diameter is less than unity. Column 79.
अब हाथ पर लगता है कि आई दीदी छू छू कर ली पैंट में
कैसे हो कैसे हो For general industry machinery, the ratio of length of journal to the diameter is taken as किताब पढ़ रहे हैं used for combined thrust.
चुपक
The,
मटाई चुपक
the
मटाई
anti-friction bearing
कहती इसकी
deep radial load at speed combined thrust and radial load of the at high speed. Small angular displacement of the shaft, radial load at high speed combined thrust and radial loads at high speed. All of the above, this question is deep groove ball bearing are used for. किसके लिए use होता है deep groove?
वाइट वाइट रहता है ब्लैक है ब्लैक है
Deep groove ball bearing are used for 486. The word thrust and radial load at high speed. I have been used for combined thrust and radial load at high speed. The anti-friction bearing have low starting and low running friction at moderate speeds. High speed, high initial cost can carry both radial and thrust loads. ठीक है भाई तुम बताओ हम तो ठीक है bearing 487. Good morning, very good morning, very good morning. कैसे हो? How are you? Empty 487 empty fixing bearing. Have low starting and low running friction and moderate speed. Have high initial cost. Can carry both radial and thrust loads. High initial cost and the anti-friction bearing have low starting and low running friction and moderate speed. High initial cost have carry both radial and can carry both radial and thrust loads. Tapered roller bearing can take radial load only. B. Axial load only. C. Both radial and axial load and the ratio this bearing less than unity. Option D. Both radial and axial loads and the ratio of this bearing greater than D. Both radial and axial loads and the can designed by a number of 305, which means that the bearing of over the light series. The bearing of medium series have over the light series. The bearing of medium series have 30 to 30 over the light series. The medium of bearing series had capacity 40 over the light series, capacity 20 to 30% over the medium series. ब्लू दे दिए नहीं कार नहीं है ये अल्टरनेटर है The bearing of heavy series have capacity. The bearing of medium series have capacity 30 to 40%. 30 to 40% for 19. Welcome. Welcome. 91. 91 C. C. 91 C. 30 to 49. The medium bearing series have capacity 30 to 40%. The bearing of heavy series have capacity 490 B 20 to 30. The bearing of heavy series have capacity 20 to 30%. The bearing of heavy series have capacity 20 to 30%. The bearing of medium series have 30 to 40%. The piston pin bearing in heavy duty. The piston pin needle roller bearing 493. 493. 8. Needle roller bearing. The piston pin bearing in heavy duty diesel engine are needle roller bearing. Which of the following is an anti-friction bearing? Option A general bearing. Option B pendle bearing. ऑप्शन सी कॉलर बियरिंग, ऑप्शन डी नीडल बियरिंग। आपका सही उत्तर होगा ऑप्शन डी नीडल बियरिंग। Two shafts are connected by gear having teeth parallel to the axis. The shaft, the arrangement is known as spiral gear. When two planar shafts are connected by gears having teeth parallel to the axis. Christian being in a school, they will wearing the excel of his after spherical roller bearing. The piston pin bearing in heavy duty diesel engine are the spherical roller bearing.
टाइप करियो
टाइप कर दो यहाँ कुछ भी लिखा है राम राम राधे राधे कुछ भी कैसे लिख कहाँ चले गए in a screw level they will hearing the axis of shaft are When the pillars of coplanar shaft are connected by the gearing and having teeth parallel to the axis of the shaft, the arrangement is known as spiral gearing. Now, in a screw removable gearing, the axis of the shaft are 496.
मम्मी देखो ना क्या लिखती है समझ नहीं आता राम राधिया
ठीक है
राम राधिया थोड़ा दूर लिखना था
कोई बात नहीं
कैसे करे मम्मी राम लिख दिया और
इससे से बस इसी का दिया करो सिंगल
हिंदी चल रही है हिंदी मम्मी इसमें हिंदी कैसे आता है हिंदी वाला विरामिता करना आपके नाम पे किया
Veins do not coplanar or intersecting, but coplanar shaft are connected by मिस्टी पर रूमा में रख दी एथिया पर कुर्सिया पर रख दी रखेंगे ओकरा हाँ किन के आयल है एक बोरा
कैसे हुआ था मेरे बेटा को ना
and to non-complementary section like